Welcome, welcome, welcome to our LinkedIn Live with trainers, and Teddy got us going. So I have my Hanukkah hat on. Virginia has her Santa Claus.
There you go. Jingle something, I think it
Lynn,
says.
we probably should have given you a little more of a heads up.
Yeah.
I should have come more prepared as well. All I have is a hard hat.
This is itching me, so I'd like to, in solidarity with Lynn, remove mine.
All right.
I'll yield. I'll yield as well.
Sounds great. So it's great to have three of my favorite LinkedIn trainers here. We're just going to have a chat about the year and things you like maybe and don't like about LinkedIn, or just anything you want. I really, for me, it's been a bit of a challenge because I can't keep up with the changes. I think that's the biggest thing for me. I'm like, every week there's another change and things have moved around, and I don't know. I mean,
well, fortunately, we have at least one of our comrades that he seems like that's the thing he's the most focused on. Kevin Turner.
Well, and that's Kevin Turner. Welcome, Hannah. We're talking about changes from the year, and you just missed Virginia and myself and Teddy donning our hats. So I have to do it again. I have to do it again for Hannah.
Because he's got the coolest hat.
I got the hat.
The best thing I can come up with on short notice is a plastic hard hat.
But mine itches, so I'm keeping mine off.
Yeah,
I have to run get mine. I have antlers. Hold on.
Can't really hear you. Okay.
Yeah.
It's antlers, I think she said.
You got antlers. Okay. So.
All right.
Well, Kevin definitely is on top of things with us, and I do find that helps a lot. I think for me, I'll ask everyone here, Teddy, what is one of your favorite changes from the year that you like or?
Well, it's a double-edged sword, but the one thing that I think provides some great value is the about the about this profile.
Right.
So you can see when that person showed up on LinkedIn, which is, but like I said, it's double-edged sword. Kenneth, what happened is they took away the field that says when we connected.
Absolutely.
That is horrible. Yeah. So.
What about you, Virginia?
So I think it might have been around. It's definitely been around more than last year, but I'm using it. It's more of a life-saving tool for me now, and that's the resume builder tool. I use that to really make sure that the skills that I'm choosing for my clients and the keywords that I include in the headline and then the job titles are really aligned with the terms that people are using when they're searching on LinkedIn. So that I like JobScan, I like all those other ones, but when it comes to writing LinkedIn profiles for my clients, I rely on the resume builder tool quite a bit.
What about you, Lynn?
Oh my goodness. I have had problems keeping up with all the changes, and I mean, there's been so many, and I haven't even had time to consume all of Kevin's content because he is just wonderful about, keeping us up to date. So I don't know. There's so many things, but I do like the resume builder, but I just kind of review it rather than maybe rely on it and maybe as much as Virginia does, because I go about keywords a slightly different way. I use my website building experience as part of that. Yeah. So I like the interview preparation resources also. And I think they will probably improve on that, I'm guessing. I think they did a really good job on that. But it's one of several interview resources that they have available.
What about you, Hannah? Thank you for wearing the antlers there.
Can you hear me or no?
Can't really hear. No. No. Okay, can't hear you. Maybe you want to sign. Maybe you want to sign in and.
Or
it says that your mute button's on.
Unmute. That's a word which I'm really going to get tired of. I mean, not tired of hearing. Is the mute, unmute.
Yeah.
You're on mute.
I do that all the time.
I think one of the things which I have loved this past year is LinkedIn Audio, and I'll tell you why I love LinkedIn Audio, because I am an introvert. I am scared to death sometimes of these presentations, and I think being able to just be in a chat is a lot easier. I know Virginia, you and I are doing one in a couple of days or so.
Yeah, Thursday.
I can't believe it's been since we were on Clubhouse.
I think you're echoing right now.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but you're echoing.
Turn
your speakers down.
I'm getting an echo. You guys?
Echo.
It's like you have two devices.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
Technology.
that's better now.
So what I was starting to say is we've done LinkedIn audios. I've done this company and I've done them personally, and I love them. And I remember on Clubhouse, I think, Lynn, I don't know, I think you're still on Clubhouse a lot with Bobby Umar, and you've moved that to here. I've learned so much about myself and about there. And welcome, Marie. Marie, this is the first time we've actually been on a conversation together. So welcome. We're talking about some of the changes, things we've liked about LinkedIn for the past year. Is there any specific thing that you like more than anything else?
So I'm enjoying the new inbox, but I honestly don't have a lot of the new features. I can't pin comments. I can't schedule posts. There's so many things people are talking about that I'm excited to get, but I don't have them yet.
So what are some of the things that you would like to get first? I mean, you see all these different comments from people that are you most interested in getting the pinned comments? Because I hadn't even thought about that for sure. The idea of being able to pin comments to the top of the post.
I still don't have that. I'm annoyed. I want
Really?
that. Yeah.
You're using a very polite word from my perspective, Virginia.
Yeah,
Annoyed.
there you go. I want it. Yeah.
LinkedIn does this to us all the time. The whole idea of who's going to get what and who's going to get the next thing. And so I'm almost leery sometimes about posting changes because then people are like, I don't have it.
Even though I have some features available to me, I just haven't pounced on them yet. You know, there's a learning curve, and it's mainly a time factor. I've been, pretty busy with client work that, I haven't had time to play with and test some of the new technologies.
Well, one of the things which I've tested in person is the QR code. That is such a cool thing. I'll go to events now, and it's like, let's take out our QR codes and let's connect. It's been so long since we've done that. I know some people actually put that on their LinkedIn profile page on the back. I've actually done that in presentations. Here's my QR code. Let's connect. That's like an aha moment for a lot of people, for sure.
Well, I have the QR code in my banner, but I create a QR code from qrcodemonkey.com. And I thought about, why should I be putting a QR code on my LinkedIn banner if people are already there, and seeing it? So I love the QR code idea from LinkedIn on the phone, but I think I wanted to drive people to the nonprofit website, which is why I, use QR Code Monkey.
So why are monkeys involved in so much stuff?
So Marie,
MailChimp too. Yeah.
Marie, why don't you introduce yourself a little, because you and I have connected. I'm not sure if everyone else here knows much about you.
Yeah, I've met most of you. So I'm the CEO of Career Thought Leaders and Resume Writing Academy, and I train and build community for career services providers around the globe. So Career Thought Leaders and Resume Writing Academy have people from all 6 continents, not Antarctica, but I actually do have a colleague that goes to Antarctica frequently, but we have people from all over the globe that participate in our training programs and our communities, all focused on the now, the new, and the next in careers. So how do we stay up on the latest, which of course LinkedIn makes almost a full-time job in and of itself.
Absolutely. We were talking before about Clubhouse, and that's where I really got to know a lot of people. And I've used LinkedIn Audio really a lot now because I think it's a great tool to use, and it's almost a podcast. I can be in LinkedIn Audio and do all different types of multitasking and not worry about I have to have my picture off, and I don't have to worry about I can listen in. Have you used that, Marie? Have you used the LinkedIn Audio?
No, we've been on Clubhouse, and I'm kind of waiting for my page to get audio because I really didn't want to do it for the group that we've had going on Clubhouse. We really want to switch to LinkedIn Audio, but I want to do it from my page and not my personal profile because it just doesn't make as much sense for the other professionals that would be involved. So I don't know. Maybe we'll just jump in and
Well,
try it. But I had
well,
heard, I don't know, I'd heard that that was coming, audio
well,
for
yeah, I know
profile.
because I have it on a company page now in beta test. I'm
Okay.
actually testing the audio, and I don't know if Lynn, I don't know if you are or not, but
Yeah, no, I started out on Clubhouse and I've only been on LinkedIn audios, but I haven't run them except through the Thought Leadership Branding Club, which Marie is a part of. So we've done we've oh no, we did a LinkedIn Live through TLB. So yeah, we haven't done a LinkedIn audio through them yet.
so I want to call out some people that Christine Dykman checking in from Marty Latman, Marty, and what Sue Griffey is referring to with the Hanukkah hat. For those who missed it, here's the Hanukkah hat. Of course, we have Ed Hahn here. Brenda Miller, always great to have here from Detroit. And Rachel Simon. And this was one of the things I loved about this past year is meeting people in real life. Oh my God. Had a chance to see Rachel in Atlanta. Lynn, you and I definitely have to catch up. And we've actually had in New Jersey, we've had a Saturday morning diner. A bunch of us get together at a diner in New Jersey a couple of times, maybe every other month, just to chat. And Christine's there, Marty's there, Alex is there. And that was the hardest thing is get Alex to come into in person again. He was a bit squeamish for a while, but I definitely recommend getting out there and just having chats. Just get out there and
Yeah.
do it again.
Yeah.
To that, I'd love to add Marie's organization, Career Thought Leaders, hosts an awesome conference, and I missed last year. I'm going to try to make it this year. If for nothing else, it's in sunny San Diego, but it is a great 4 or 5 days of networking and catching up with people while you're also learning. The speakers are usually phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that's at the end of March this year?
It is the end of March, as you said, in San Diego. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Actually, the idea of the meetups, and I've met with different people. We're all planning events in person now. A couple of evening ones, a couple of lunchtime ones. Chamber of Commerce, just seeing people. Oh my goodness, such a big thing.
Yeah, I've done I think 4 in-person events so far since the pandemic. And it just felt so good, you know.
So,
I think we're through the bad part. I hope we are anyway. But yeah, it
Lynn,
is good.
can I come down and do an event for you in Philly at some point?
Absolutely. But we don't have any meeting places per se right now. We have one that's been offered to us, for some one-offs. So yeah, absolutely.
What
We'll,
about
we'll
what
plan
about
something.
Panera's or a Starbucks or somewhere else? I mean, that's what we were
Oh
doing.
yeah, we could definitely meet there. Absolutely.
Stand on a street corner around a lamp post.
Yeah.
But I'm still tempted to come to New York City on the 27th for when
Oh,
Sarah Clay comes into town.
yeah. Sarah Clay from the England is coming in, and we're all trying to figure out how we can get there. Looking forward to an interesting day because some people want to go to Bryant Park, which is in New York City. Others are going to be heading downtown to South Street for dinner and drinks. So we're going to see. And Bryn Tillman was because we saw Bryn Tillman, Lynn, the last time we were at the diner, and she's going to try to get us into LinkedIn that day.
Oh wow.
Cool.
Yeah, she brought her LinkedIn tchotchkes along. She handed them out.
That's awesome. As long as it's in the afternoon, I could probably do that because I'll need the morning to travel.
Well,
The whole morning.
the whole morning.
Yes.
So Marie,
Yeah.
where are you based out of?
Now I'm in Colorado. So about 5 months ago, I moved from Salt Lake back to the Denver area in Colorado.
So show of hands, who has snow on the ground by them? No,
Oh, really?
I'm the only one with snow. Well, we got
Wow.
we got a couple inches of snow here, and we had our first challenging people driving on the road. People that first time forget. You can't drive the same way.
I mean, where I live, there's like 2 salt shakers in the whole city. I'm convinced, so I wouldn't go out to save my life.
So the other thing is, I got to read some great books this year. Joey Himmelfarb had a great book, and he asked a question: any suggestions for job seekers to push back on your suggestions? And that's a very interesting thing. I've worked with job seekers and people. They don't really. They're very stubborn, and they just don't want to hear something. So I'm wondering if anyone has any thoughts about that from their experiences.
Share 2 stories. Story number 1 is the plethora of people that you've helped who are still trying to get to where they want to get to. Story number 2 is the 1 or 2 people who took your ideas and used them and achieved, at least in part, if not completely, the goal that they were after.
What about you, Marie? Do you get pushback from job seekers that just don't want to listen to you?
Well, this is why I teach coaching, because coaching goes beyond strategy or consulting to really uncover the fear. Because usually when people push back, it's because they're afraid. And if we don't uncover that fear, it really doesn't matter what advice we give them, because it's helping them figure out what is blocking them. And I don't know about you all, but this even happens for me, right? I know how to post. I know when to post. I've got a list of ideas of what to post. It's the internal what if, what happens, what about? And those are the things that people need help working through. And that's where a coach comes in. If someone can read all the how-tos and the stories online, they can probably figure it out themselves. It's when they sit down and the gremlins come in and say, but what do they think about you? Or what if this happens? Or what if the trolls come and post? And so it's uncovering those fears, asking them the questions. What's getting in the way? What gets in your way when you sit down to do that? Or what are some of the thoughts that come in when you think about doing that? Even though you know it's the best thing to do, what comes in for you? And then we can uncover those fears and really either dispel them or say, what could we do to test it? Or what strategy could we have in place in case that happens? So that's what I would say, is taking it deeper and figuring out what's getting in the way.
So let me ask you a question, Virginia. You work with a lot of people with resumes. Do you get pushback on people that say, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, why do I have to do this, when they have a resume?
Yeah, so with the resume, I get, why does it look like that? It's so different from what I'm used to. And I always just try to explain every decision I've made is sort of grounded in strategy that is informed by lots of different people. It's not all just my opinion. And so I always share those strategies, but I do tell people, go run everything we've written by a handful of people that you trust and that know you better than me. I know everyone has opinions, but if 3 of 5 people say the same thing, then we've got something that might be worth addressing. That's my approach with the resumes. With LinkedIn, people are hesitant, to Marie's point, on engagement and how they put themselves out there. And so again, I try to explain the strategy, but then I think let's just do some A/B testing. Let's do things the way you suggest and look at your numbers. Then let's do the things the way I suggest and look at the numbers. And and then let those results speak for themselves.
Definitely. I think one of the challenges sometimes is that people want instant gratification with what they do. They want an expectation right away. And we all know this is a journey for all of us. And sometimes there's going to be ups and sometimes there's going to be downs. It'll happen faster for others.
I recently talked with 2 people. a new employee at an organization, young person, post grad, and then a MBA student and a group of MBA students. And the MBA student was the first conversation, and I was looking at his content. I was like, man, you got some great content all about your company. Can I offer you a suggestion? He said, yes. I said, start commenting on other people's content. He goes, I can't do that. I don't have permission. And we went into a discussion about he truly believed it was not his place to comment on other people's content. It's just, for some reason or other, it was inbred in him. He can't do that until I explained to him the power of doing it and why people want that to happen. The young new employee for one of my clients had a similar mindset. He goes, I can't share anything but my company content. I'm only allowed to share my company content. So I looked at his boss and said, did you tell him that? And she said, no. And so it's just minds. I mean, it's mindsets. And I'm with Marie. It's also fear, but it's also my new term is ill-informed people. And we are all over the place.
So this morning I commented on somebody's post. It was about commenting on LinkedIn. So if you go into my activity and you see this person, I forget their name. It was a fabulous deck carousel about strategies for commenting. So check that out.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, we actually changed our class to teach a comment first strategy last year, because when we're talking with clients, I think that's so much easier actually than thinking about coming up with content, and tons of success stories from people only commenting, never posting content, and getting jobs, getting connected with the right people. Obviously not if you're starting a business or really wanting to build your personal brand, but if job search is your kind of goal, commenting first is maybe the better way to go. And even for personal branding, I think it helps someone that's never done it. They comment first and then they can build into their content.
Yeah.
No, it's a great way to test your voice and find it online. And
I know one of the things I did is when a New Start Career Network, we created a poll together. I said, let's just create a poll. Let's ask a question together and let's see what their responses were. And it was just to show them people will be interested. Now, polls, whole different story about how successful they are or not, but it was a way to show in real time how you can post some content and see that there gets engagement. And I think that becomes an aha moment. It's like you almost have to walk people through how to do this. It can be done. I will show you how, and then they feel a little better about it.
Yeah.
I'd rather comment all day long than post. If it were up to me, I'd never post another day and spend my life commenting.
Well, I have a comment only day that I do. I started that in
same.
August and September. All I will do is comment on the day, nothing else.
My philosophy for me is comment at least 4 times more often than share. That's the simplest measure, rule I have. Typically, you're going to comment way more, but a minimum of 4 to 1.
So apparently, just to let you guys know, apparently LinkedIn is bumping people out and putting them back in again, which has happened to, I know, some of my other people on the call. And I know it is very upsetting, and I'm sorry about that. If nothing else, just catch the replay later on. I promise you, I did not do this. I promise you this is, but again, this is just the whole technology thing. So one thing that Ed brought out was the whole idea, this person, Richard Vanderbloom, who is actually going to be a guest of mine in 2023, he posted a whole algorithm report about what he has found in years and years and years about posting on LinkedIn. And it's very interesting, the way that you do things. And I think the one takeaway I have is that as a best practice, you look at a guy like that, but you still have to, it's a thing which is organic. You can't buy engaging, and you have to be comfortable with what you're doing and not doing. I mean, there are so many people that are selling on there. And I actually have gotten my share of those invites, and I just looked at a chat bot, which is now actually creates those quote unquote automated invites for you. And it was the scariest thing. I put a question up, what do you suggest as a LinkedIn connection request? And word for word, it came back with something which I've gotten from other people. Very scary.
Yeah.
So are you telling me, Ken, that all those Asian women who are messaging me and sending me invites, are you trying to tell me they're not real?
Well, they're not, because I get my share of those too. I get
It's
my share of those
relentless.
too. And in some cases they're deleted from the profile, but in some cases
Mhm.
they're there. And it's like, this is just a problem with the platform. Women have a much different challenge
I
than
get it.
guys do. And I'm not trying to minimize that at all, but it's just so many automated bots and all that stuff.
So Hannah Morgan shared yesterday, I want to say, in her summary Sunday, so I guess it was Sunday, one of the articles that she shared was written by Donna Svay, and it was about how ChatGPT, which is the big, AI that everyone's talking about now, how it could be used as a great job search tool. So yes, there's things that aren't great about it, but it's out there to stay, and just there were lots of suggestions on how you can use it for research and lots of things. So I would definitely go to Hannah's profile and look to find that article.
Well, we were talking amongst, I don't know if I said it to you or to Donna. We should, if you're on a phone screen and someone asks you a question, just put it in as a chat and see what the response is back, and then just kind of use that as leverage to answer the question. Be very interesting to see how that plays out.
So I was watching something this morning that my daughter sent me. I don't know whether it was a reel or a TikTok, but Gary Vee was really tooting that new platform. So he says it's going to be life-changing. So we'll see.
So Cindy has a question, which I'd love to get feedback on. What do you say to people working in a company, working where you're interested in going to? I mean, Brenda talks about mentioning what they have in common. Shouldn't I say I'm interested in the job posting? I mean, I would be curious to get your insights, each of you, because there's different ways to go about reaching out to someone, and this is hands down much better than actually applying online and looking at the job there and just trying to have a wait and see attitude.
Yeah, I'd say set up an informational interview. Ask questions about the culture of the company, or do you happen to know how they interview? Is it a panel or individual or whatever? I think if you go in asking questions, not asking for a job, you want to build some rapport and build some kind of a relationship.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'd add finding that commonality. I know helps improves my responsiveness when people reach out. So if you say, we both went to university together, or I see that you joined this company from a sort of a non-traditional background like mine, I'd love to hear about how you did it. But finding that common connection, I think, can go a long way towards quickly fostering a relationship that you can then use to have that informational interview like Lynn suggested.
Anything to add, Marie?
Well, just what Virginia said, when you're sending the contact request, that is important to make that commonality and be specific so that you don't sound like a bot, right? We're all tired of getting the sales bots, as you were just talking about. So if you make that connection, it makes it obvious that you're not. Really look at the profile though. I get a million where people try to do that, and I don't even think they're bots, but they just didn't look very good at my profile, and they send the note. It's like, you're a little off there. And so really sure you do a good job of your research before you send that. But I encourage
there's
people
all these automation places that talk about how they can send a connection request and personalize it, if you will. But then when you get 4 or 5 of the same type, and I actually did a LinkedIn Live with someone who peddled one of those, and he didn't realize at the time why I was inviting him on. I mean, he talked about his product, but it was really to get an understanding for people on the call as to how it works. It's amazing the stuff that they do that LinkedIn allows them to get away with, which is a whole different discussion in and of itself.
Which that discussion.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
That discussion, Lynn, I'm sorry. That discussion about that whole automation thing is going to grow even more based on what LinkedIn just did with Kinetic up in Indiana.
What did they do with them?
I don't know what they did.
Cease and desist order. And you don't throw a cease and desist order at someone unless you're ready to take it all the way. They're a big data scraper.
Oh. And I feel like in the academia circle, is it Jasper? There's some other tool that I've heard kids using to try to write really great term papers, and I don't know the teachers are catching on. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, so those have been
Definitely
around
grow.
for a long time, which when I saw the
Yeah.
new one for job seekers, I thought, oh, that's interesting because these have been, people have been talking about Jasper and
Yeah.
Content Bot, and there's a lot of those AI systems. It sounds like I haven't dug too deep. It sounds like this one is different. But I saw one of our colleagues, Nicole Merrill, has done a lot of work in this space around writing things with AI. And I believe that she was posting about these before this new system came out. And they have been able to do this for a while. They weren't just maybe marketed to career space. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But she showed a resume AI created where it actually like assumed and put in numbers. So you increase sales by this amount, but normal example, but it actually guessed like a number. And I thought, oh, that's just so dangerous because a job seeker is just going to take that and use it with data in it. You really have to be careful with these systems.
So let me there's the follow-up after Cindy asked the question. Do you advise me to reach out to HR, a person with the same job title, or a hiring manager, or all? I mean, I'm just gonna.
All right. So I volunteer a lot in the job search space, and I do not present myself as a career coach, even though I've practiced and trained in it since 2008. Here's my line. HR is not who you want to have a conversation with unless you want a job in HR. You can have a conversation with HR at the right time. Get past them or get above them or beyond them and have a conversation with the human who plays in the sandbox you want to play in, who plays the toys you want to play with, and or the person who manages that sandbox.
Yeah.
Sense.
Sweater Rugby talks a lot about try to target your skip level person, which is what you were saying, the people that manages those people.
Yeah.
I think it depends on why you want to have the conversation.
Yeah.
If you want to learn about the job, then you want to talk to the person that does the job you want to do.
Yeah.
If you want to learn about the company, then really any of these people could be a good place to start, just depending on who's easiest for you to connect with, whether that's someone in your job or the level above them, depending. HR, even if they're more accessible, if they'll talk to you about the company, that'd be great. But a lot of times they won't, which is why, you say that. So it depends a little bit on why you're trying to have that conversation. If it's a research conversation about the job, you want the job person. If it's a research about the company, then you have a little bit more flexibility to try to find someone that will respond.
Yeah, good point, Marie. I do like
really
organizations who their HR people are approachable and willing to have those conversations without any level of commitment, but willing to have those conversations.
LinkedIn search filters are remarkable, I think, to help you pinpoint good people to speak with.
Yeah, and back on that commenting strategy, if you find people in the company that you would like to maybe reach out and have that informational interview with, if you target them and constantly look at what they're posting and then comment on their post, that may start that relationship that you would like to begin, with somebody at the company.
And I also think this time of year is one of the best times to network, to even have these type of conversations, because people are much more in a much better mood for the most part. And I think job seekers, I say this all the time, they are their own worst enemies. They don't want to try to do things. They're so afraid, whether it's insecurity, but you've got to be a salesperson. You've got nothing to lose by trying.
Absolutely.
I was just going to highlight your point, because we talked about comment first earlier, and we were talking about before posting content, but comment first before you direct message someone is really important too, because you build that rapport and you're way more likely to get a response.
Yeah. So a couple weeks or so ago, I wrote a LinkedIn newsletter after interviewing Marty Latman, he is just absolutely terrific with all his advice on, you know, the do's and don'ts of connecting during the holidays. And I think a lot of people are taking their foot off the gas pedal now because they think it's the holidays. But one of the tips that Marty gave was that, you know, a lot of the hiring managers are not traveling now. You know, they're in the office, and maybe, you know, their gatekeepers are taking off for the holidays, so they might be more accessible. So I thought that was a really good tip. So I think, you know, if you're a job seeker, you know, uh, get busy and keep networking, even, you know, these couple weeks before the holiday, because the budgets are clearing for 2023. So I think people are very active, you know, hiring now, and at least in maybe in the beginning of January.
Yeah.
Recognition. Listen, another love fest here so much. I think it's a lot easier now to reach out to people and ask for the informational interviews, to do the research there, because like you said, Lynn, they're going to be hiring in 2023, but they want to do some of the interviewing now, because when they first get back those first few days, the last thing they're thinking about is getting back to people. And so I think part of the strategy I always like to say is the best time to reach out to people's either on a Sunday night or evening, because they'll get this first thing in the morning in their inbox. Because if you send something on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoon when they're working, not a great chance of them reaching out. And then along those lines, having a valid subject line, not like, do you have 5 minutes? I mean, really, that's such a throwaway line. I think people don't realize little things like that they can do.
You know, another phrase that I personally strive to not use and teach people not to use is that phrase, informational interview. The moment you use that phrase, and I understand what it is, we're defining what the conversation's
Right.
about, but the moment you use that phrase, in that person's mind, they're like, oh God, he's looking for a job and I don't have one in my pocket. And so I coach this, and by the way, this is the same thing in sales. I coach, look, I got some questions that I think you might be able to help me with. I'm looking for some information that you may be able to point me in the right direction. You may know somebody I need to know. Ask for help in a very general way. And often the right people are willing to give you a little bit of time to help you. But again, once you position it, I got a widget to sell and I need you to tell me who to sell it to, or I'm looking for a job with the words that make people think that, it gets them to, I don't know the right word, really not want to be there.
Yeah, I had a guest on my podcast this week who was a teacher that during the pandemic decided to make a pivot into customer success management, and she actually went to TikTok and LinkedIn to find out about find profiles of people that had made moves from non-traditional backgrounds into this kind of role. And she just went in with the approach when she was reaching out to people on LinkedIn that it's a network, which means it's a social network, which by its very design is meant to introduce you to people that you don't know. And so she just flat out private messaged people and said, I've researched and I understand this is a viable career path for someone like me. Can I talk to you about how you did it and what you like about it? And, you know, not everyone responded, but all you need are 2 or 3 conversations to then get introduced to 2 or 3 people. But I loved her embracing the idea that, yeah, you're not supposed to know everyone on here. The whole point of this platform is to get to know people you don't. And it, you know, made her feel more confident in reaching out to those people.
People love to talk about themselves.
They do.
I mean, they love to talk about themselves. They love to share. And that's in both a good and bad way. I mean, when you go on an interview, you want people to talk about themselves and the company. And I think sometimes if you position yourself to be that inquisitive person, doing research in that way, you come across in a much more positive way. You know, when I was in job search, one of the questions I used to ask, it was, what do you like about the company? what is it about the company? How long have you been there? What are some of the things about the company that you like? And what are some of your challenges? And just put it back on them, because I think that's just so helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as we go into December, what is your thought about sending out holiday greetings, wishing you a happy holiday? If we all get these ad nauseum, of course, but in terms of following up, what do you think?
You mean in terms of reaching out to someone, saying happy holidays, love to talk,
Yeah.
that kind of thing?
Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah.
I mean, I always sort of feel like you're never going to make everyone happy, but all you need are a couple people that it works with. And so, I mean, I love it when people reach out to me, especially people I haven't spoken with in a while, or, if they come in with a commonality or something like that and want to get to know me, then I'm all for having those conversations. And if the holidays is the reason they use as the excuse, that's great.
I used to send an email out through MailChimp. Yeah, and we're back to the monkeys being involved. Every year before LinkedIn took the email addresses out of my export file.
Mm-hmm.
And every year that email went out to all of my Google contacts and to LinkedIn connections, 17, 18,000 people. And it was just a message that says, Kenneth, I can't remember if we talked this year. And I just thought I would say hi. Hope your year was decent. And if there's anything I can do, whether it's make you laugh or point you in the right direction or introduce you, some way, words to the effect of, dude, I just care. I want to say hi. That's it.
My thing is this. I just thought, I do this every 3 to 4 months anyway. I just, I think it's a good practice, but I think it's all about just staying in touch with people in any way possible.
Yeah. And that email went out every year. I would get 3 or 4 pieces of business with that just by simply saying hello. And there were many years where an email I sent out 2 years ago resurfaces for a conversation.
Yeah.
And all I was trying to do was say hi.
Well, and ask a question. I think if you really want to start a conversation, ask a question. If you're just sending out a message, it probably won't generate as much. But if you ask people, a question that might be fun to answer, what's your goal for 2023? Or it kind of depends on what your focus is, right? Or even what was your favorite thing from this year? If you ask a question that's relevant and interesting, you get responses back. So it's just a good practice no matter what message you're sending out. But a lot of people don't do it. It's even a good practice when you're commenting on LinkedIn.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I got to take off. I got a meeting in person. I've got an in-person meeting that I get.
I have a question.
Lovely to see all of you.
Bye, Marie. I have
Bye,
a question. Is
Bye.
anybody having difficulties with LinkedIn messaging on their phones? I'm having a terrible time right now, and I don't know whether I should delete the app and put it back up again, or if there really are glitches. Anybody else have a
What's it
problem?
doing?
What's it doing is right.
It's not sending promptly.
I will say this. LinkedIn's been glitchy for me too. I ended up reinstalling it.
Yeah. It's the easiest thing
Did
to
you?
try first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, try to reinstall it, because sometimes you just never know. And LinkedIn is like glitchy in all different ways.
Okay.
We all
Is it on group messages or individual or both?
Individual messages. I don't know if I've sent a group message recently on my phone. I have, on desktop, but definitely individual messages. It's really
I had
annoying.
that problem about 2 months ago, where the messages kept saying fail.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was a hiccup or I deleted the app and reinstalled the app in the process.
All right, that's what I'm going to do.
Well, we've all seen when everyone seems to be experiencing tons of different glitches, it means that a bunch of new changes are on the way. So
that's
Kevin
that's
Turner.
the truth. That's
Wait,
true.
see what's happening. So
we all know that's the case. It's kind of like they're working on the platform. We don't know what they're working on. The ironic thing is, we end up sometimes helping each other out. If it's down, we just message each other. One time we were on Clubhouse talking about this. We'll tweet, because LinkedIn doesn't have much of a support or help desk
Right.
thing. But we all know that. I mean, good or bad.
Yeah. Community support.
Yeah, I wonder if other social, if people on Instagram and Twitter and all that have these same issues. I'm on those sites, but I don't know them as well as this platform. I
Facebook
think they
business
probably do.
pages. I know of a lot of people who use Facebook business pages, and they used to go through the same. I haven't talked about it in the last 4 or 5 months. The same kind of hiccups, especially as Meta changed business pages. Instead of just being blah 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 page, it was business.facebook.page. So yeah, I'm certain we're not alone.
No, we're
Yeah.
not. We never are.
Yeah.
I think again, I hesitate to make a resolution for 2023 because one of the biggest mistakes, because I made a resolution in 2022 and I didn't follow through with it. So not going to make that mistake again.
Yeah.
But by the way, the resolution was I was going to write a book this year.
Yeah.
That book is still up here.
There you go. It's
You
written in your
have to
head.
write a book. You have to write a book.
I do.
You do. It's for
I
me.
read it.
For me and for a lot of my friends I talk with, it was just so fulfilling. You cannot imagine, even though my book does not make me millions of dollars, you cannot imagine that feeling when you get that first print copy of that book in your hands. You just can't imagine it until you do it. My wife said, calm down, you're going to have a heart attack.
We don't want that.
Yeah, but my point was I was so excited. And then the first person who bought it that took me over the moon too.
I mean, someone actually bought the book.
Yeah. Finally, my mother.
So nice of your wife. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But my New Year's resolution for 2023 is the same thing I've been saying for many, many years. I promise to continue showing up. Don't know what I'm going to do, but
Right.
I'll be here.
I mean, my resolution, if any, is to meet more people in person. I've said that for the last few years, and the pandemic got in the way, and there's really no excuse anymore to do that. And so, Teddy and Virginia, you're on my list.
All right.
Because you're in the same part of the country, also. Also.
Yeah. Cool stuff. So.
I stay away from resolutions as well, but what I do is at the end of every year, my old coach told me that I called it a champagne brunch or something. And you're supposed to envision what you want your life to look like at the end of the following year and then break it down into, what does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? And then come up with little micro goals. So I'm doing that next week. So I'll let y'all know how it turns out.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Cool stuff. So, but
Thank you.
yeah.
Push for your
Push him,
22
Joey.
reps.
Push him.
Yeah. I need to have my own bunch of people pushing me. They need to call me up every once in a while to say, why haven't you done 10 pages? Why haven't you done 20 pages?
Well, you have a show, and
That doesn't,
you have
know what?
audio shows.
But that's a cop out. I'm gonna call a cop out on that because there is nothing stopping me from doing this except me. I am a procrastinator at heart. There are things I will put off every single day because I just don't want to do them, whether it's a phone call or something else, and that's just on me. So I have to get over that hurdle, for sure.
All right.
I told a friend of mine that I was thinking about writing a book. And this is a guy I would see regularly, at least once a month. And the very first words out of his mouth every time I saw him is, "Where's my copy of the book?" I mean, what's the word? Ad nauseum? Is that the right phrase?
Ad nauseum. Yeah.
Ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys very much for attending. I'm sorry Hannah had to jump off the call.
Yeah.
But I look forward to another week. Next week, you're all welcome back again. I have other people. We're actually going to do a Clubhouse reunion next week, a LinkedIn International reunion. We're going to get Liam is coming back. Andy's coming back. Ariel's coming back. I'm trying to get Leah Turner. I don't know if I'm going to have any luck. But we're going to give it a shot because I can remember Leah back in the day before she was the superstar that she was.
Yeah. Yeah, cool stuff. Well,
Well, thank
Virginia,
you for organizing this, Ken.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And
Thank
of
you,
course,
buddy.
before we go,
I got my hard hat
There
on.
we
I'll take a
go.
pounding.
go.
I'm in my office, not at home, so I have no hats here.
Okay.
All right, well, let's smile for the screenshot. Screenshot. There you go.
Ken,
All
thanks
right,
a lot
great.
for pulling us together. Virginia, good to say hi. Lynn, good to see
Nice
you.
to see you guys.
Have
Yeah.
a great end of the
See you,
year.
yeah.
Have a great holiday.
Take care.
Yeah,
Happy
take care.
holidays.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Oh, okay.